For generations, we poisoned our air. We poisoned our water and the ground. And it's taken billions of dollars to improve our water supply, to improve our air. But yet, here today in New York State, we're contemplating going back generations and possibly polluting our water supply by hydrofracking.
And when they do Gasland 2, the story is going to be about how people around the state of New York came together in coalition and fought back against the oil companies and the gas companies and the people who want to poison our water. That movie's going to show that we won, and it starts today at this hearing. Don't you agree?
For the last 3.5 years, I've spoken as a geologist to try to make the scientific case why this doesn't work and why it can't work. And in a way, I was naive enough to think that if we made the right scientific arguments, we would win the day. I think I was wrong. I still think we have to make the science, but this really is about politics.
Yes.
I don't think the Cuomo administration wants to listen to the science. And so the city put out $1 million report documenting how this is bad for our water supply, bad for any water supply. The Cuomo people did their own study and said, guess what? Our guys say you're wrong. And so that's how it's going to go. So I still think we do have to proceed along the scientific track, and I can spend here for the next hour talking about the microseismic and this and that or whatever. I won't bore you. What you need to do is to make sure that Governor Cuomo understands that this is going to be a political loser for him. Everyone in this state has to send him the message that if this goes forward, this is going to be bad for his political future.
There is so much science. There are so many facts. There are so many speakers here to explain, and inside of this hearing, that the science and the facts lead you to only one conclusion. We should not do hydraulic fracturing in New York State at this point in history. I'm waiting to see any studies saying it's okay to go forward other than those produced by the industry. There is endless research. Literally every single day something new is coming out about how dangerous this is, how many countries and states are reversing themselves and banning. Today we're hearing more and more about the risks of earthquakes on top of everything else we have learned.
Assemblyman Colton has the ban bill in the Assembly. I believe there are 17 sponsors. Some of my colleagues are here who have signed on to the ban legislation.
You know, I want to raise an altogether different question here today. I want to ask, in the face of science, why we are wasting so much state money, time, and energy wallowing around in the radioactive muck pit of gas drilling, when what this state needs and wants is renewable energy. When you say it'll bring jobs, when the solar jobs bill for New York State will bring far more jobs than gas drilling will, that will stay in the state and won't harm our communities and our water.
Yeah.
Today, the only growth industry in the nation is renewable energy and leads standard energy efficiency.
Yes.
Last week, the International Agency for Energy came out with science, and they said we have 5 years to stop global warming before it's too late and it becomes unstoppable. We are seeing the greatest droughts in centuries throughout this nation and world, and yet we are willing to destroy billions of gallons of fresh water. Why aren't we here talking about where we're going to put our community solar farms? Where we're going to put our biodigesters? Where we're going to put our wind farms? Where we're going to put our geothermal plants? Tell them what you want. Governor Cuomo, we want renewable energy. We want it now.
Mic check!
Mic check!
Mic check!
Mic check!
This morning,
I
am overwhelmed. This movement is not about a movie. It's not about politicians. It's about people. It's a people's movement. This movement
movement
is because the truth gets out. And the gas industry is lying. They can spend millions of dollars lobbying Albany, lobbying Washington, but it won't work. We know the truth. They can't put the genie back in the bottle. Sorry. Gas industry. I have a cold. Let's keep cold. Any politician who believes in regulation, is regulating this industry, will stop it from polluting our water, is dreaming, and is not supported by any evidence.
New York is home to thousands of cancer survivors, and I am one of them. For an individual person, cancer is the most expensive medical condition you can be diagnosed with. And here in New York, these costs are especially ruinous. When it comes to cancer incidents, New York is number 11 in the nation. Why would we, in the name of economic development, open New York's borders to a carcinogen-dependent industry that threatens to add more data points to New York's cancer registry, and that demonstrably raises our risk via air pollution, which is a certainty with fracking, via water pollution, which is a near certainty with fracking. I brought today a letter signed by more than 20 cancer advocacy organizations across the state of New York, from Buffalo to New York, including Lois Gibbs, including Fran Drescher's organization, Cancer Schmancer, groups representing women with breast cancer, men with prostate cancer, young people with cancer. And we're all saying in this letter to Governor Cuomo that we want this to stop.
This is part of what the fight is all about. In Dimmock, Pennsylvania, where they have fracked, this is a precious commodity because there is no clean water. Clean water needs to be trucked into Dimmock, Pennsylvania, because the fracking there has caused animals to die, children to be fallen with serious illness, people not breathing right, the soil contaminated. Everything is going downhill in Dimmock, Pennsylvania. Why do we want that in New York State? No. We don't.
No. The job numbers spread around by the industry have been proven to be highly exaggerated. The industry has spent many millions of dollars lobbying and advertising in order to spread their economic falsehoods. The economic impact studies funded by the industry are highly flawed. Even the study commissioned by the DEC is highly flawed.
Yes.
Independent research and experience with gas drilling elsewhere shows that regions with gas drilling are economically worse off in the long run. They suffer from a long-term bust. Most of the workers that take the short-term jobs are transient workers from other states.
Yes.
Other industries, such as agriculture and tourism, are likely to decline. Property values are likely to decline.
Yes.
So, employment, income, and tax revenue are all likely to decline in the long run. Both the industry-funded studies and the DEC analysis ignore important costs, such as the cost of road and infrastructure damage, costs to communities due to increased demands for police, fire, first responders, and hospital services, and the loss of future development potential due to the extensive pipeline construction.
We are not going to allow the oil in Pennsylvania and Wyoming and elsewhere. Senseless decisions have allowed the hydrofracking industry to cause massive damage to life and health and environment and economic viability.
One state, don't divide us. The moratorium was an excellent step, but we've got to slow this process down because the more we know we need to stop it. That gas isn't going anywhere, so let's not frack. Let's save New York for generations to come.
You know, I represent some young people from a community known as Harlem, and I dare say the children of all the Harlems in the state share the same problem. Sometimes it has been called a problem in which they have high rates of asthma and respiratory diseases. Some have characterized it as environmental racism. And so let me be brief. This fracking is going to adversely pollute the air, undermine the air quality in the Harlems of our state, in which I represent, and the children of our community who already are suffering high rates of asthma and respiratory problems will suffer even more. Yes. So don't frack around. Right. This is a serious situation. This is about not just water, it's about the future. These young people are our future, and we want to make sure that their future is not polluted by this fracking plan put forward by the governor.
All across New York State, at the various hearings that are being held by the DEC, thousands of citizens are coming out to protest fracking. We know the DEC is going to have to back off from its proposal to allow fracking in New York. But no matter what they do, I believe that they will go forward in some manner in relation to allowing fracking. And we're going to need the state legislature to step up and ban fracking no matter what.
We fought very hard to make sure the DEC did a hearing on this EIS right here in New York City for two reasons, and I'm going to boil it down. There are two messages that those of you in the media should take away from not only this press conference, but from the long hearings you're going to see today. First, the DEC is saying that this EIS addresses our concerns about water quality in New York City, and we don't buy it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Right.
Second, people in New York City are not just concerned about our water. We're not just concerned about the environmental quality of our lives here in Manhattan or in Brooklyn or in Queens or in Staten Island. We stand in solidarity with this state, recognizing that we have one environment to protect.
What I want to do in this last 30 seconds is talk to the governor and his administration. I've sat where they sat, and I think they're fairly frustrated right now. There's an old candor. They have done more to try and stop fracking than any other state. So they're probably sitting back and scratching their head and saying, after all we've done, don't people understand it? Why are crowds like this out here and doing this? And the answer is very simple, and I hope they will take it to heart. The answer is fracking is the past, and we want the future.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fossil fuel was once very good for this country, but it is now very bad. And that what we're looking for from the Cuomo administration, from DC and its agencies, is not just a ban. What we're looking for is leadership. Leadership about building the upstate economy and the energy economy of the future.
Yes.
They should consider their good deeds, consider why they have not been sufficient, take everybody's comments to heart, and realize that there's an enormous demand in this state for leadership that will take us into the future.
Yes.
And I hope they will provide it.
Yeah.
Senator Tom Duane.
Thank you very much for providing this opportunity to testify. I represent the 29th District.
I'm Cindy Beverly Rosenthal. I represent the Upper West Side, parts of Clinton Health Station, the 67th Assembly District.
My name is New York City Councilman Jim Gennaro. I'm chair of the Committee on Environmental Protection for the New York City Council. I'm also a geologist working on this issue for a long time.